Hi everyone, welcome to the last lab exercise of this semester and hope you're having a happy holidays. So let's start this session, which is about JavaScript. Actually, this kind of JavaScript and script languages uh, help us to provide a dynamic content and make our web page more dynamic with just buttons, with just it enables us to, for example, add a text to our web page and just which we will just see through this lab exercise. And so first, you need just to copy this URL link and paste it, and then you will just see this web page. And the first task is to copy and paste all these codes here and paste them, install these HTML tags. So if you run it, you will see we have one header, one paragraph, and four buttons. And we will just change the code of each button during this session, and you will just see how we can just make our buttons more just dynamic. So first task is changing object labels. So with JavaScript, we can change some elements in our page. For example, we can just specify the changes to happen when we just click the button. The thing is that if this changes, or just the task of changing this, for example, this button, for example, or just only the button label is just simple enough or short enough to be just stated in single statement, we can just easily include them in onClick property. The onClick property is actually placed in the object's opening tag after the object name. For example, it will just be placed here inside the opening tag and right after the tag name. And also the statement to be executed on a click is enclosed in a double quote, which should be vertical, not curved. For example, this way. So unclick and equal, then just inside this vertical quotes, you will just enter your statement, which is just a task that you want to be done when the user click your button. So let's first explain the details of this example inner HTML attribute. So in our unclick statement example below, we use the statement this.innerHTML equal to new label. So first, let me explain what this statement do. It actually, when we just add it inside this opening bottom tag for example, for the label, if we click, so right now, if I just click the label button, nothing happens. But if I add this statement, if I click on the label button, it will just change the label to the new label button. So right now, just the name of the label name is inside this bottom tag, and it is just indicated as label, which you can just see here, which is label. For the next one is color, Latin, and image. But we want to change the label name once the user just click this label button. So first, this actually means object whose unclick property is used. For example, in this one, it is just this button object. And the inner HTML means whatever text is enclosed by the tag, which is labeled here. Uh, so different tag, but just I should mention that different tag types can interpret this differently. For example, for paragraph tags, the text is just displayed in the just current style. But for the bottom tag, the text is just a label for the object itself. For example, this one is just actually the name of this button. And uh, yeah, and the period between these and inner HTML signifies that the property belongs to the object. For example, the inner HTML property of this object, which is our current object, which is just button here. And equal to new label, this equals symbols indicate an assignment, and the text enclosed in single quote. As you mentioned here, now it is in a single quote, not double quote. Is a text we use to replace whatever text is already there. The text is already there is label. So, for example, here we will just, so what happens is what as I mentioned before, you should just place this unclick property, this unclick in this unclick property inside this opening button tag. So I need just to copy and paste it instead of this label tag here. And if I run it, now you can see that if I press the label button, it just, what happens actually, it actually goes to this object, which is this button, and it said that this object itself change the text inside this between this the opening and end tag of this button, change it to the new label. So this is how we can just change, for example, the name of the button. So, but a more complicated task is to changing a different object from just different part of your HTML web page. For example, in this action, we will just try to add a new text here between, for example, this header and photograph tag. When the user click on this, let's say, login button. So changing a different object is somehow similar, but it just requires a different reference because we are trying to refer to different part of our HTML web page, not this object. So we can just achieve, this is achieved by using the ID property of a tag, and then we can find the tags with a matching ID and change their, for example, let's say, HTML, or you can use just other attributes that you just need for your task. So, and this is how you can just get access to that ID or that specific tag. So let me just let's do this example, and then I think it will be just be more clear. And so one more thing that I should mention before just before doing the next action is that HTML has a number of tags that don't automatically affect how the page is displayed. For example, the phone tag. If you use the phone tag without its attributes, if you remember, you had just you used phone tag, I think in a just two session before this session, and you had color, font, and just other attributes you use these attributes to change the font and color of the text, which was just enclosed between the opening ending phone tag. But if you use this phone tag without its attributes, it actually won't affect your HTML, just your web page. So we can assign a phone tag and an ID and use it to change the text dynamically. So I will actually just, so you see inside this phone tag also I don't have any text right now. I only just used it to just have this ID to be able to refer to this ID when I want to just define a statement for this Latin button. So yeah, so I will just copy this line of code, and because I want just the new text to be placed between this header and paragraph, I will just put it here. You can just put it wherever you want, but I think if I put it here, it's just more clear for you. And then what I will just do with my bottom, I will actually add this onClick property, just copy this onClick property and its a statement and add it inside the opening this opening bottom tag for the Latin button. And what it does is actually just first just get the ID of that specific tag, which we just put it inside this font tag, and then we use just the same inner HTML attribute, which actually just put this put the text that we just specified and put it inside the tag with this just a specific ID that we just call it using this document that get element by ID. If you remember, just before that, when we just in this example, when we just change the text inside this bottom object, we use this. But now the ID that we just refer to is just located in somewhere else, just another place in our HTML page. It's not this specific button. We just access to that just part of our page by using document that get element by ID, and inside this parentheses, the ID of purpose reference of that tag, and then just this attribute, which is just inner HTML, we just put this tag inside this just starting and ending tag. So I will just copy and paste this onClick property and put it inside this button tag. And now if I run it, you see if I click on this Latin button, this Argentina Soliditias, I don't know what's the word exactly, should be just placed here because I put this font tag with this ID, which I just referred to here. I just put it here. You see just what happened. Okay, I hope it's just clear. And just if I also click on the label button, it will just change it to a new label. So this is how you can just change the text of the object itself using these. But if you want to just refer to another just another tag, which is not this um, bottom tag, you should just use this document that get element by ID, and then inside the parentheses, use just the ID that you use for that specific tag, and the rest is just the same. So functions. So as you saw, these just the tasks that we just did already. They are just the simple tasks that can be just can be returned in one statement. But more complex scripts involving multiple statements are grouped into function. And if you want to just write a function, there are just some rules that you need just to follow. First is that any JavaScript function must be enclosed within a script tag. So, and starting and ending script tags, script tags, then the name of your function, and then the parameters, which are just separated by commas, and they are just the parameters that can be used throughout your function, and then your just statements for this function. So yeah, this is just how you can just write a function. For the next task, which we just try to change the color of this paragraph, we will just use the function to do this task. First is again because and we want to do this job by pressing this just color button. Right now, if I just press the color button, nothing happens. But so again, same as the previous example, because we want to just refer to to another part of our HTML web page, but which is not our just this button itself, this color button. First, we should just add an ID to this and just add it inside uh, this starting p tag, and we name it p1. Just you can just do it whatever. Just you can name it whatever you want. And then inside this button, starting button tag, I will just add this unclick property, but instead of just defining my statement here, I will just pass a function to it. And so, and how you can just do that again inside the vertical quotes. This is just the name of your function and just then a semicolon. This is just how you can just pass the function to the unclick property. So don't forget to just use just the semicolon. And how you can just define a function, as I mentioned before, you should just enclose your function inside this script tag. And inside this script tag, you can just use your function, just type your function. So first function, then the name of my function, which is just me. I just defined it here. And then inside the braces, as I mentioned here, inside the braces, my statements. Here, just my statement is not just that much complicated. It is easy. And because you just put the vertical code here inside the braces to define each statement, you don't need to use the just vertical double quotes. So just write down your statements and just separate them by semicolon. So here again, I want to refer uh, to another I want to refer to this p tag. So I should use document that get element by ID. Element by ID, and then specify just or just refer to that tag by using its name, which is p1. And then so this is how I'll just get access to this p tag and the text inside this p tag. And now my attribute. The attribute that changed the color is the style color. I myself cannot just remember all the attributes. You can just type, for example, change color in JavaScript, for example, attribute in Google, and you can just find what's the attribute for this task. So for this one, we have it here, style dot color, and then equal but the color should be again inside the tiny code. And then just ending my segment with the semicolon. Now, if I run it, if I don't have any just typo here, if I just press the loading color, it should go to this P tag and change the color to red. Oh no, sorry, color. Now, it works. Okay, great. So let's go to the next part, which is the variables. So JavaScript variables are indicated by word var. So you first type var and then just the name of your variable. And a variable is just a virtual container for data. For example, you define var and then x equal to 0. It means that it just allocate just a virtual container for this variable just to be used, for example, throughout your function. And it can be just, and it is just, you don't need to specify the type of your variable. For example, you can just define var x and then put just a text or digits, store text or digit values inside this mm, for just for this specific variable. So it is just easy to just define a variable. So an example of this can be of just of defining the variable is this example. Okay, so the example can be just this function. And so first we have to just two blank lines, and it will just create two buttons and create a variable x here, as you can see, with an initial value of 0, and include a function that increments x and display the new value and the value bottom every time it is called. So let's just copy and paste it here. Again, inside this HTML tab, if I run it, yeah, you see if I just click, so initially the value is, so if I click the add button, it will just increment the initial value of x, which was 0, and put it as a label of the second button. So initially the value of variable x was 0, and what this function do, it just actually get the document just refer to this to the second button, which is just has the ID of var, and put the value of just the of adding 1 to the previous value of x, and then put it as a just the inner HTML. As you remember, the inner HTML actually put this value inside the object inside just the ending and starting and ending tag of object that it just referred to. For this example, it just referred to the second button with the val ID. So if I add it, I expect it to just press add button. I expect it to just to be 2. So every time it just incremented, it just incremented by 1. So yeah, this is just an example of defining the variable. And as you see, just this unclick property, just we just pass this x with the initial value of 0 to this f function. And another example is just interval. Sometimes you might want a timer for your web page. Just JavaScript, small JavaScript code can do that. this JavaScript has an inherent function called setInterval, which combines a function call and a periodicity value. When you just call the setInterval function, you can just enclose an unnamed function and its a statement and as the and its statement as the first argument. And the periodicity as the second argument. So how we can just do this task is just, it can be just the example of this example of setting intervals. Okay, so this is just the example which we can just go through every line, but it just, I think, now let me just copy and paste it here and see how it works. Okay, so for example, if I press the timer, it just, I think it just add the timer by 10 milliseconds by using just this set interval function. You can just review it yourself, but let me just review the second example, which is just which is important for your assignment. So I need just to copy and paste this just the original code. Let me. So just copy just the whole line of codes here, and I create a new folder and put both the red square and blue squares inside that folder, and create a new just notepad file and name it, let's say, let's 12, and then paste just the codes. And what we want to do is actually we want our web page to initially show this red square image, but when the user click on this image button, it just change it to the blue square. So what we should just do, I will just add just add my image with this ID to the, let's say, just end of my page. And then what I want to do, actually, I will just add I will add an on-click property to this image button. Let me just erase this sample to make it more clear. And then define a function. Let's name it f. And then I will just define my function scripts. And then I will just define my function. So it will be just similarly. So I will just copy and paste it and edit this. So I name my function f. So I will just get access to this image by using document.getElement by ID, but the name of my image is square. And then the attribute that can change the image is src, and then the name of my the name of the new the name of the new image, which is a bluesquare.jpg. So if I save this file, so what I did actually, I just add this image tag with this specific ID name. And then I just added my function to the starting point of my bottom tag. And then inside the script tag, I'll just define my function. Function F, where just document.getElement by ID, and then just the name of the ID of this tag, which is square. And then this RC attribute, we just change the source name of my image, and then the name of the image that I just wanted to just be replaced by my red square image. So I will just save it, and then I will just rename the extension to HTML, and then if I just open it, and if I change the image button, it just change it to the blue square. So for the submission, I think you need just to first just press all the buttons instead of the image tag, using this website, and just take a example screenshots of results. Before taking a screenshot, make sure you just press all the buttons, because just your TA wants to see if just all the buttons work correctly. So just press all of them, take a screenshot of the code and the results, and then save it inside your, let's say this, save it inside this folder, and just with your code, and just then maybe you can just submit this PNG file separately, but you can just also put it inside this LX12 file folder, and just then zip it and submit all of them before the deadline. Okay. Have a great evening. Goodbye, everyone.